years to work alongside an unbelievably passionate staff and some of the most wonderful volunteers and donors, many of them are in this room this morning. Yes, I did say since 1979, and when you found a place you love enough to stick to it for 32 years, and you reached your 6th decade of life, and you have 9 grandchildren, you tend to get on your soapbox a little bit and become philosophical, but I promise I won't go on too long. I've just got a few minutes, and if I don't get off here, Jim's going to bring up the big hook and yank me right off this stage. We are here today for an important reason. We want you to hear our story, and then our board president will come up in a few minutes and ask you to join with us to help kids. In terms of our story, today I want to focus on 2 things. The Kids Center's most valuable asset and the Kids Center's biggest need. First, our most valuable asset. I kind of feel sorry for people who don't like Sundays. And I don't mean people like my wife who have to endure hours of watching football on TV on Sundays in the winter and fall and golf in the spring and summer. I mean people who don't like Sundays because they dread Mondays and going back to work. I have never felt that way because I have the luxury of working with the most amazing group of people who are like family to me. And they are our most valuable asset, our wonderful staff. I could go on and on about them, but what really matters are how our families feel about them. What our parents and our children say to me in parent surveys and in interviews. I could spend hours sharing everything, but here's just a sampling of some of their comments right off family surveys. One mother said, "My therapist was the first person who ever talked about our son's future. Not just what he needs today, but what we will need to know about when he's 30. Another parent said, "My therapist is part of our family. She's been to birthday parties, she's been to ball games, she's family." Another, "We've been other places and it's just not the same. From day one, you can feel that they love these kids." One other comment, "My therapist put up with all my craziness. It's hard, and I share everything with them. I don't know what I would have done without them." Another mother, "My therapists understand my kids and know how to motivate them." And finally, "In our world, you often hear what your child won't be able to do. I have never heard anyone at the Kids Center tell me what she cannot do." You see, my friends, simply put, the Kids Center staff is a staff of amazing people. You could not find a more technically skilled group who know their field and the latest therapy techniques. But if you've been to our center, you know we're not just about clinical services, clinical techniques. We're about seeing ability. You might say we're about believing in and loving the kids as much as their families do. So if you will indulge me briefly, I would like to introduce our staff that are here this morning. Many are not here because they're treating kids right now on Eastern Parkway, but the ones that are here this year I'm going to introduce individually. In past years I've just asked everybody to stand, but this year I want everybody to be recognized individually. So staff, when I call your name, please stand and remain standing until everybody's up so we can recognize you collectively. I am going to introduce the staff in reversed order of length of service. Those staff here under 5 years at the Kids Center: physical therapist Holly Halsnecht, Kelly Kramer. Physical therapist assistant Julie Massey. Occupational therapist Julia Cobb, Hannah Reagan. Speech therapist Jenny Anderson, Rebecca Rothenberger, Sally Sanders, and billing manager Joanne Brown. Now the group that's been with the Kids Center for 5 to 10 years. Physical therapist, you've already heard from Melinda Goins and Renee Morris. Occupational therapist Toby Burton and Amy Duffy. Speech therapist Jenny Thrasher. And marketing development specialist Deidre May. And our marketing development director Jim Middlefield down there. So those are the 2 people that really get all the credit for putting this on today. Now we have a group of our staff that have been with us for 10 to 20 years. Physical therapist Bonnie Foltz, Lynn Lukens, and Jamie Ramsey. occupational therapist Tammy Market and Kara Vanderhyde, speech therapist Becky Medley, and insurance specialist Sharon Vaya. And finally, that group I'm in, it's over 20 years of service with the Kids Center. And if they're at your table, you might want to kind of give them a hand if they need help standing up. Seriously, as you will see, they're very young and energetic, even though they're quite seasoned at the Kids Center. And I'll show you one right off is physical therapist Lisa Campbell, occupational therapist Linda Boyce and Ann Flint, speech therapist Pat Pierce, receptionist Kim Caldwell, secretary Marion Herthel, insurance specialist Tammy Stewart, bookkeeper Paula Kessler, health services coordinator Janet Meek, and finally my longtime and very able assistant director Barbara Borey. Their people are the most valuable assets at the Kids Center. I do appreciate your recognition of those folks. It's well deserved. Now, about our biggest need. After 42 working years and 32 at the Kids Center, the R word does enter my mind every now and then. I'm not ready to retire yet. I'm still very passionate and love the work, and I know I've got a few good years left in me. But I do have a retirement wish to share with you today. Every year, when I sit down to prepare our agency's annual budget, we fall short. The big reason is the money we bring in from therapy buildings only covers 50% of the cost of running the organization. Let me say that again, 50%. Now, why is that? Well, it's because when our founders started this organization, they made a vow that no child would be turned away because the family couldn't pay, and that's a core belief we hold to today. We see about 700 children a year, and over 70% of our families cannot pay in full, and a third of our families are considered indigent by federal standards. Luckily, we have some regular funding sources that fill in part of that gap, but it still leaves a budget shortfall of 25%, or nearly $700,000, which equates to about $1,000 a child each year that we have to make up. And that's just to break even at the end of the year. There are times during the year when we struggle to make payroll and cover all of our other costs. So my retirement wish is that I would love to get up to this podium one last time and tell you we have achieved a strong enough base of revenue coming in every year that our basic needs are met. Of course, yes, we'll still ask for your support, but it won't be just to maintain the status quo. It won't be just to break even. It will be to help the Kids Center grow and expand, and to be innovative and put in place new and better programs and services to children who have special needs. We're not there yet, but I believe we can be with your help. What we need is for people who love what we do, who are in this audience today and are moved by what you see and hear, who believe in us and want to join us, who will join us and be part of our family. The more we build that base of people who back us every year, the easier it will be to cover that gap. It's that simple. Whether you give $10 a year or $10,000 a year, being a donor each and every year, that is our biggest need. I know that there are people here who can help make that happen. Not for me, but for today's kids and the kids, the generations to come. Thank you for being here today, and thank you for anything that you can do to help the Kids Center. And now I'd like for you to watch this short video that we have prepared for you. Thank you.